Hey, what's up, everyone? It is that time of week again. It is Wednesday for the brand growth community where we go live and we talk about what's going on this week and we try to bring on one of our community members to talk about what they're doing. Hailey Rowe is coming on today. She looks like just started and requested to join. And what I'm excited about is she's a coach, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey with coaches because when I got started, I was just uh, trying to find a couple clients within my circle, and then I was writing content, trying to find my voice. And it wasn't until I found a coach that I really transitioned out of that, out of trying to poach clients into actually networking and actually trying to build community. And in the learning how to network and learning how to generate discovery for my content and how to build more high quality content, that all came through coaching and through learning from other people. And that value has been really top of mind for me today. The Monday episode I dropped on the podcast was with a coach, a fitness coach, who's built a business around that. And our guest today, Hailey, is someone who helps fitness coaches build their program. She coaches coaches. So it's very meta in that way. But let me see if we can bring her on, and then I'll tell a little bit more of the story for you guys. And it looks like we are adding. Oh,
Hi.
there she is. Hello, hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having
Of
me. Can you
course,
hear
I
me?
can hear you great. I was turning it down because it's
Okay.
I had
Oh,
it
yeah.
at max volume. I see
All right.
Linda. What's up, Linda? How you doing? I see Katie. Hi, Katie. Thanks for stopping by. Um, how are you doing?
I'm good. We're kind of matching in our
Uh,
blue and our headphones. I'm really good. I just had a coaching session with my coach actually, and an interview this morning, and now this. So today's kind of like a fun day for me. I get
yeah,
to talk to all these cool people.
back to back to back. When I have like a podcast interview later, and I wanted to, before we get into your story, I wanted to kind of continue to express the value of coaching, and it's kind of like anyone that you know that is a coach has a coach because
Yeah.
they've seen the value in it and they eventually turn it into something that they want to do. But I was on a very different journey until I met a couple people that have brought me and kind of changed the way I work and think and have helped me break through. And not just the coach, but also the mastermind group that I joined, the support, the community of people around me, just has really changed everything from just reaching out one to people to being a better networker, being a better content creator, understanding how to build a product, how to build a brand, how to add value to people. All of that has come through in some way, shape, or form through coaching and community. And the story I want to tell is when I went to an event in January that I've talked about a lot. It's called Social Media Marketing World. And
Oh, I love that podcast. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
that
So jealous. I'll be there next year, maybe.
yeah, that it was for people like me in marketing. It's like the mecca where all the speakers are there, and I didn't know, I didn't have any plan going in, which is a bad plan, not to have a plan. But I got really lucky because in like through the coaching that I had learned, they're like just start reaching out to people beforehand and put yourself out there. And in doing that, I developed some like pre-relationships going into it that turned into like amazing contacts that introduced me to thought leaders that ended up wanting to come on the podcast when I had zero reputation. I had no one that would know who I am that would want to say yes, suddenly was saying yes. And because of that, it became a snowball effect. And to the point where like just yesterday, I've had two people that got referred to me like person to person to person, that, one of the guys was a number one, the number one global content marketing authority, like in
Wow.
the world. So, and it's, like as given by some person that gives that kind of credential, whatever that is, and has been the number one business blogger in the world. Like people that I'm like, were not even in my radar, uh, were not even people I had to try hard for. They were like, I got the referral. Someone introduced us. I sent one email explaining, the whys and the hows,
Yes.
which I learned from a coach. like
Mm-hmm.
exactly how to structure an email, what to say, and what, how to make it worth it, and how to value someone else's time. And then, like right away, absolutely, would love to, love what you're doing, and
Brilliant.
book the time like
Yep.
right away. And these kinds of things happen when you have the right people. So I was excited for you because everything's kind of coming together. I had a coach on my podcast on Monday, who's a fitness
Awesome.
coach who's been doing amazing things. You work with people like that. And I know I have 3 people, at least in this community, which is now 75 people, which is ridiculous. I started this thing a few months ago.
Congrats.
3 of the people in this group are Reiki coaches, which I don't know what that is,
Awesome.
but I know.
I've worked with a few of them, so I know.
Yeah, and I have another
Yeah.
person, Jess, who I'm sure will check this out at some point. Is a uh, who she's a massage therapist, a esthetician, and just got her license to be a personal trainer. So
Great.
love that that you're here today. Let's talk more about you and what you do.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And what you were saying just now about how you reached out and you structured it and you explained what's in it for them and, the benefits, that is so huge because I think a lot of people don't even ever they get too scared to even ask. And you would be shocked at what happens when you just keep following up and you keep building relationships. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. I've had guests on my podcast who I was like, oh, this is way out of my league. But, you just never know. So I love that story. But anyways, my name's Hailey Rowe. I'm a business coach for health coaches primarily. I've worked with a few life coaches, mindset coaches, etc. And what I do with them is help them build a profitable online coaching business and go beyond their certification that they spend a lot of money on and actually get into promoting what they do, marketing what they do, overcoming their mindset barriers, stuff like that, and really setting them up for the marketing piece organically before they start doing paid ads or fancy websites and all of that. So the reason why I do this is because I've been a health coach and I've been in the coaching world for over 8 years and worked in the health startup world and majored in entrepreneurship. And what I found was all of these health coaching certification programs are wonderful and they teach you, how to be an expert and help people, but they don't teach you how to run your business when you finish. They might have a little piece in the certification program about that, but it's usually outdated. It's usually not what is really working in today's world. And so I was really frustrated with that. And thankfully, I had the business side of the experience working at the startups and whatnot. So I was like, I think there's a way to piece this together and give coaches a process to really build their business and be able to do what they love. Because what breaks my heart is when they get the certification and then they're ready to go and they want to do their passion, but then they're like, okay, nobody prepared me for all of this business stuff. So that's what I do.
Yeah, well, and here's what's funny about this, and I think it's a good thing to talk about is when you have the right mindset for your business and for the kind of the steps you take and the moves you make, if you will. People might think, Hailey is a coach and there's people in this group that could use your services probably more than they could use mine. Why is Brandon bringing Hailey onto this call to talk about what she does? Isn't she worried about losing those people? And I think that's what messes people up a lot of the time too. And if you are doing it right, you don't worry. You think that there is enough to go around, and all I want is the people to find the right people for them, whether it's me or someone else. If someone on this call needs like coaching to build their business and marketing, but from someone that has done it exactly in their industry, by all means, go for it. And maybe you still find my podcast interesting and you like want a different concept from there, or maybe you don't. But if you just have what they call, the abundance mindset, which so many coaches talk about,
Yeah.
and you just know that there's enough out there for everyone, and just that you provide value in some way and give it to someone else, that might come back to you in one way, shape, or form that you can't predict now. So I'm really happy that you came on today to explain what you do and how you've been doing it. What are you excited about right now? Like what's been going on in your business these days? It's like that's got your attention.
Yeah. Well, a few things. So first of all, going back to the
Please.
I think our things complement each other. You're really big on branding and, building the relationships and podcasts and all that. And what I do is very similar, but it's like, just a little different. So I agree with you completely. I'm sharing this with my audience. I mean, I want to have you on my podcast. I think it's all about how can we help people grow the most and who resonates with you. So I'm the same way. Now, regarding what's exciting, I am a few things. Best month in my coaching business so far.
Awesome.
Very excited about that. Launching a group program July 22nd, which is a big undertaking for me. I really focused mainly on high ticket one-on-one coaching, and that's what I help my clients do a lot of the time. But I realized, you know what, it's time to take the one-on-one method and really bring it to a group. And so that's my new territory right now. I have done little group things in the past, but this is my real first official launch. So I'm really excited about that. And
tell me a little bit more about it. Like, what is the like the goal? Why would people want to do it? Like, what's the plan?
The plan is, it's called the Zero to Hero Health Coach or Zero to Hero Coach.
Awesome.
And you're going to really go from having your certification or knowing you want to be a health coach, but you don't have anything set up. So you might have your social media, but you're not leveraging it. You're not building relationships. You're not getting any clients from it. So what we're going to really take you through is how to set up, first of all, how to know yourself, because you have to know yourself as a business owner and how you work best in your time and all that. That's section one. Then we move into your niche and market research. So how are we going to make you stand out among all these coaches who are health coaches? And what does your audience want in their own words, so that everything else we create from the program is validated. We're not just guessing, and you're not going to create something and hope that people come. You're going to know because you've done market research. Then we move into creating your offer and your sales process. So a lot of people don't know how to price. They don't know how to structure their high ticket one-on-one coaching or their group program. And what's the upsell and what's the client path and journey. So that's a big part of it. Then we move into the sales. So everybody's afraid of sales for some reason. It's one of my favorite topics. And we talk about sales mindset, how to overcome objections, how to lead somebody who follows you to actually not just being like, that's nice, that person posts nice, inspiring posts, but actually wanting to work with you and how you lead them to be a client and nurture the relationships and reach out to new people without feeling weird. And then we move into more of like the time management, and mindset is a big part of it throughout. Just making sure that you're focusing on the most important things for your business. A lot of my clients in the past have had other jobs. This is their side hustle. They want to grow it. And so we really can't be like, okay, you're going to do SEO and you're going to have, a podcast, and we really get focused on what their top 2 social media platforms are, which for my people, I recommend Instagram and Facebook most of the time. And just get focused on that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The end goal is for them to have a profitable coaching business and them making their 5K, 10K months, and set up the foundations for that too.
Is there a place that they could find it? Is there like a URL?
Yeah. So I have those next step would be for them to schedule a free strategy call with me, and I'll put the link to the application form for that in the comments, and we connect live. We see if it's a fit for you. But I also have the gist of what I coach on up at haileyrowe.com/coaching. Okay. It's summarized, and I have a roadmap for the group program that I could email them. That's kind of way more in depth, but yeah, so the strategy call would be the next step.
Awesome. I hope that they check it out. I know there's at least 4 people here that could probably benefit for them if they are in that right mindset right now to take advantage of something like that.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear more about, as you built your business and this new coaching program, like a little bit like behind the scenes for Hailey, like what's going on that's been a challenge, and like some little bit of thorns that you're trying to figure out how to solve, and then what are some wins, some things that have been going well for you?
Good question. Lots of thorns along the way. I think that some of the hardest part for me in coaching is getting attached to people. So if I meet somebody and I really want to work with them and like them and see this potential, and it's just either it's not the right time for them or whatever. That's one of my problems. I really get emotionally
Yeah.
attached. Another thing is, for me, this used to be a past problem, and it was not it was not setting boundaries in my business. So just taking like not setting my cutoff time for work, because I could work on this all the time, and I'm sure you feel the same way
Yeah,
about
for
your
sure.
business. And I would catch myself just wearing myself down, not giving myself a cutoff time, not setting boundaries with my free audience versus my clients, and making sure my clients always are top notch, care first. So I've really had to work on identifying, like, here's what I allow, here's what I make room for, here's what I make time for, here's what I'm putting on hold. And just the concept of wanting to do everything. Like my problem isn't not having enough ideas or whatever. It's having too many things I want to do and needing to tell myself, no, we're putting that off until December. That doesn't make sense right now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of my biggest ones. And then the last thing, this one might benefit your audience, and it's a thing I see all the time among my clients and that I used to do. And it was not being specific enough in my niche because I was afraid that I would scare off the other people who I could be working with and benefiting. But that's just not the case. When you're trying to speak to everybody, you're really resonating with nobody. So I used to, before I was really marketing just to health coaches. Thanks, Linda, for the thumbs up. Did you know, I'm going to share a fun fact. If you guys put emojis in the comments, it helps your live engagement. And it's a good ask because emojis are so easy. Nobody's going to be like typing out a 5-sentence, thing. So anyways, love it. I forgot what I was talking about. Okay. So your niche, specializing. I forgot. Yeah. So be specific. Oh, before I was
Yeah. Also, don't
coaching.
pay attention as an interviewer. Don't look at them as much because you might lose your train of thought.
I know. Yeah. Another pro tip.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is so ever since I've gotten more specific on my niche, I've had people outside of my niche contact me.
Right.
Compared to when I was speaking to everybody, nobody was really contacting me. So
What did you narrow it down to from where you were?
originally I was more about habit formation, and I was marketing not what people needed, but not what they truly wanted.
Right.
So I was talking about habits. I was talking about being a coach, or more general with a coach and service providers. So that was kind of where it was off.
Got it. Yeah. So you got more, it wasn't like you changed the people you were talking to. You got more specific with how you helped, which I've been talking about that a lot lately is people say niche down, and it's very confusing because the things that come to mind are like, I need to get more specific in like an industry or a particular type of thing. So for my marketing, it'd be like, you should be a restaurant marketing person, or you should focus only on businesses that are a million plus, whatever, revenue. That is one way to niche, and that works for some people. But I think you can figure out, are there different ways that you niche down that serve a smaller group of people based on something else? It could just be where they are in the process, or that thing that you can help with the most, whatever that is. There's a lot of ways to do it. So I think niching scares people because they don't think that there's 100 different ways you can build a niche. So
yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure you've experienced that in figuring it out, because it's not like you say, well, I now only work with people that want to do dumbbell work, like it's,
yeah, exactly.
That's not how you niche
And
down.
even within, you're not done once you just pick a niche. You still have to identify your unique selling proposition, your values, your personality. Like, as coaches, we're really personal brands. And so if we're just being very like never sharing any personal side of ourselves, that doesn't help either. So it's more than just, okay, I picked my niche, I'm going to be successful now because it's so specific. There's so much more to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's funny, as my Friday episodes tend to be a little bit more just behind the scenes and just telling my story, because I think people eventually they get tired of hearing what to do and they just want to get to know you a little bit better. And that's one of the things that I learned through masterminds and through groups, is that I was about to go speak for the first time. I was going to go and speak to my first college, and I was really nervous about it. And
Oh,
my mastermind group, there was an opportunity to go to Thailand with them and meet them in person. So I did that. I brought my wife. We met. We went out there, and I didn't know that one of the things that just would be doing up there is figuring out like our limiting mindsets, our limiting beliefs, and kind of getting rid of them. And in that, there was a vulnerability, and I had to really figure out how to tap into, something that didn't come naturally to me. And I realized if I couldn't do that, if I couldn't figure out a way to be personal and open up about the struggles and the things I fear and the, the things that I'm feeling, if I couldn't express that to people and tell those stories, even if they're scary or I didn't want to be judged or whatever, if I couldn't be vulnerable with people, it was going to be impossible for me to give a speech to 100 people and make them feel anything. Because no one wants to
yeah.
hear like, do this, do this, do this. They want to hear your story. They want to know where you're coming from. They want to feel something, and you can't make someone feel something if you're not vulnerable. So it's been just a crazy year for me of growth and working with people, but like coaches, masterminds, and just putting myself out there to learn something. I end up learning the things I didn't expect to learn. And it takes
Yeah.
me just to a different place entirely. So it's if I can give anyone value in that way, I'd say, learning, taking what you can from different people is important. Figuring out how to kind of look inside and be vulnerable and tell your story is important, especially if you're a coach, because we got a lot of those in this group, I'm sure too. But I was just happy that we ran into
Yeah.
each other. Just this is the
Yeah.
networking thing that I'm trying to tell people about. Like, if you can figure out how to start reaching out to people in different ways, different forms, you never know what's going to become a connection that actually works for you and that can become, valuable in both ways.
Totally. I agree. And what you just said about being vulnerable is key, because you have to think about what your ideal client needs to hear today. And it might not always be, here's the tactical strategies about how to da da da. Sometimes it might be, hey, I know that it's tough, when you get a rejection or whatever. And here's a story about how I've dealt with that or whatever. So I love it. And part of why I resonated with you is because we had so much in common as far as like our backgrounds, and we went to the same school and all that. So I would have never known that if you didn't open up a little bit in
Yeah,
those groups.
no, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those connections, people look for common ground. It's the first thing. And yesterday I had to call someone I didn't think I was going to connect with, to be honest, because I felt like he was a bit of a bulldozer and I'm a little bit like not. So but it's funny is the first thing he expressed on the call is that he grew up as kind of a bully and he's a bit of a bulldozer, and that's something he had to get in touch with and then learn to turn it around and be a little bit more like vulnerable and intuitive, and it's something he works on. But him sharing that just changed my mindset about him entirely. And it's like, it's something you can work on no matter what your normal personality is. It's something we can all like get a little bit better at, I think, overall.
Yeah.
I'd love to figure out for you, what are good referrals for you? If someone's like, how can, other than the obvious, which is, yeah, if you know a coach that needs a coach, like send it my way. Who are good people that are good connections for you?
Yeah, well, I work, yeah, like I said, coaches, health coaches. But I also because my background is in health coaching, I still do a little bit of that. I don't market it as much online because, again, I don't want to confuse people.
Yeah.
But locally, I have a few training clients, I have a few nutrition people. So that's fine too. And I do have a referral program. So it could benefit you financially
Yeah,
if they sign up.
of course.
And I think I see Rachel from my community. She's hopping on here. So I shared it. I did a watch party. I had no idea if it was really working.
Rachel's been part of this community for a while. So
Oh,
she's probably
good.
been in both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see that. Okay. Well, you never know who is common connections. So that's so fun.
Yeah.
But
And Linda says, let's talk. Perfect.
yay, Linda.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you coming on today. Anything else you want to leave the community with before I let you go?
Well, I think we should leave it with, what are the 3 feelings you're striving to feel every day? And what are the feelings you're trying to make your clients feel? Because a lot of times we get so bogged down in the tasks that we forget why we're trying to do it and what feeling we're striving for. And that leads to inconsistency and not feeling like doing it. So when you tie yourself to the big why and the mission of how you want to feel and how you want to make other people feel, I think that that's a good note to leave it on.
Awesome. I love that. If you guys want to actually be accountable and write some of those in comments, we'd be happy to hear what you guys are feeling. If you're watching this back later on replay, just make sure you type in Team Replay and let us know that you checked it out. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys joining, and a bunch of you that have been making comments. I appreciate you. Linda, as always, thank you. Rachel, appreciate you. AJ was watching for a little bit. Thank you. John,
Yay!
he's every week John's on. John's the best. If you guys need a
Oh,
photographer,
John.
please call John. I bring him with me to
Where's
events.
he located?
He's in LA. So if you
Oh man, John.
if you fly to LA for an event, hire John. He's the best. Katie was on. Thank you everyone for taking the time today.
Thank you.
And I'll catch you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.